I've been teaching media studies for nearly 15 years now, and one of the things that nearly always frustrates me when I hear it is a student who says to me, "Oh, I don't really watch much television." Now, uh, I'm sure you can understand why that's frustrating. As a media studies teacher, you want students to come to the subject who experience a lot of media, and TV is certainly a key medium. It's also, I suppose, if I'm totally honest, something I can't really relate to or identify with because whilst film and a passion for movies is really the reason why I wanted to pursue an education in the media and the reason why I went to university to study media and film studies and so on and so forth, and whilst music was something that was always played in my house growing up, my mum and dad were huge music fans, very passionate about sort of pop music from the era in which they grew up in, mostly the 1960s and 70s as well. TV is something that I feel has really kind of belonged to me growing up. I remember watching TV as a very, very young child, as almost as a toddler, watching things like The Muppet Show, Jim Henson's brilliant Muppet Show. And then growing up with soap operas like Coronation Street, of which my mum was an avid fan. I continued watching that into adulthood. And then finding TV shows of your own. In fact, I had a TV in my room from an early age, possibly some might say too early an age. But I remember watching tons and tons of TV, probably to the point of near addiction, through into my adult life. So it's something that's been a mainstay, and I've always really appreciated television for what it has to offer, whether that's the kind of very frivolous, flippant, I suppose, disposable TV that maybe soap operas can sometimes be described as, or even perhaps even more disposable things like game shows and quiz shows. The stuff that is maybe slightly inane and pointless, whether that's sort of the everyday nature of something like You've Been Framed, stuff that my dad would refer to as chewing gum for the eyes, just kind of something to do, right through to now the sort of so-called golden age of television that we're living in, with high quality shows, big budget shows that rival movies for their kind of spectacle and their drama, and probably even beat them for their character development. Now, this is an age we talk about with shows such as Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, Game of Thrones, my own personal favourite TV show of this era and of all time, probably The Wire, which if we is always considered to be a sort of 21st century thing. But I think if you go back as far as perhaps even the mid 90s with a TV show like ER, then you can see that the quality of TV was changing. So as I said, a self-confessed telly addict in my youth, I've always appreciated how important it is. And that's kind of why I can't identify with or sort of empathise with that idea of I don't watch much TV. But actually, the truth is that phrase, I'm a little bit less frustrated by it these days and a little bit sort of less annoyed by it in a way, because TV has evolved and changed, and not just about the quality of TV or the way that it's made, but more importantly, the way that it's broadcast and the way that it's consumed. And again, this comes back to a couple of things that I've been talking about on this vlog in the past week or so, and that's how technology has changed the way that we consume the media. And in particular, TV has evolved rapidly and incredibly diversely over the past few years because of the nature of streaming TV shows. And the reason I'm talking about this today is there's been a number of articles that have cropped up, mostly on the BBC website, I have to say, about how TV has changed or will be changing over the next couple of years. The one that I'll link to is an article that's called BBC Ready for TV's Second Wave of Disruption. And the quotation there, second wave of disruption, is from Tony Hall, the BBC chief. And so he's got quite a lot to say about how the BBC will adapt in line with these changes that are happening. He describes the first wave of disruption as really the rise of these kind of rival streaming sites, Netflix, Amazon Prime, to name a couple. The BBC, if you don't know, is combining with ITV to form a streaming service called BritBox, which will have a backlog catalogue, an archive of many of those sort of favourite shows of terrestrial TV, as well as sort of broadcasting and premiering new shows on it to really take on those kind of big hitters like Netflix. And of course, whilst Netflix has been hugely successful and continues to dominate in a market of TV binge watching and box sets, it itself is under threat because the Goliath of Disney is launching its own Disney Plus service at the end of this year, which will soak up not only all of those Disney titles, but also of course, the MCU, that whole Marvel universe, will be on there. All the Star Wars movies will be on there. Disney has recently bought 20th Century Fox, so all those movies will end up on there. When you look at it, it's going to be slim pickings for the Netflix and for the other kind of streaming networks as well. And so the reason this has continued in the news is that we're in a process right now where a number of TV streaming sites are doing a number of really high profile deals. So just this week it was announced that Friends, I believe, would be moving off of Netflix and onto HBO's streaming service. Netflix are gaining the sitcom Seinfeld, and I think maybe The Big Bang Theory. It's all kind of moving around as to who will have the rights to stream what shows. Now, at the end of the day, this is an industry argument, or this is an industry topic about moving money, about how TV networks can generate revenue, and also it's really an area where people can't know too much. You know, there are predictions being made here, but no one knows for sure what's going to happen. And certainly, whilst many of us have been paying for Netflix for quite a few years now, when other networks become available, like the BritBox and like Disney Plus, will we stop subscribing to one and start paying for another, or will we move around subscribers for a few months at a time? Certainly I came to Netflix because of Breaking Bad. I'd not seen it, I'd not followed it, so I decided I'd sign up for my free month and watch it all. I'd binge watch it in 1 month. Well, I have to tell you, that was back in 2013, and I've been paying my $7.99 now $8.99 every month ever since, having finished Breaking Bad many years ago. I plan to do the same with Disney Plus. You know, when the Mandalorian, the new TV live action series is there, I'm going to pay for them. I'm going to get my free month and watch it all in one go. Will I cancel my Netflix? Will I continue subscribing just out of habit? Who knows? And this is really what I'd like to know a bit about your own TV habits and what you think will happen in the future. There are definitely no right and wrong answers about this. So your own projections, your own predictions as to what will happen with streaming services, what will happen with the different TV networks, I'd love to hear in the comments below. Also, just to find out a bit more about different TV habits. Okay, we make assumptions about young people that perhaps they only watch TV on their phones or watch YouTube, or that you as a demographic of teenagers don't really access TV in the same way as sort of an older generation. Well, is that true? Okay, what are your televisual habits? How do you approach TV? All of that is really interesting, and it's important to know this because we do study television in year 13. We study a TV show from the UK and one from overseas as well, and it's all important to understand the audience's use of TV, but also to get a bit more to grips with how the TV industry targets specific audience groups as well. So leave your comments below as always, have a think about this, read the articles, and if you see any more articles on this particular topic, again, please link to them in the comments below so we can sort of build a bit more of an understanding of this topic. But until next time, thanks very much, bye bye.